Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 6, Episode 1 of Real Talk at the University of Delaware. I'm your host, Kelsey, here with Gabby and Yode. It's been a long time since we've talked, and a lot has happened. We have a packed show for you, so make sure to stay tuned. In today's technological society, it's possible for anyone to become an influencer, and with great following comes great impact, whether that's for good or for bad. Sometimes the fame gets to their heads, and mistakes and miscommunication happen. We're going to kick things off this episode with the abuse of power that can happen with a large platform in the media. So guys, who wants to start?
Well, the thing you have to understand about influencers is that they're human beings. Like they make mistakes, they do stupid stuff. But people put them on a pedestal just because what they see on their phones, which is recorded, edited, and shown for the public for a certain view.
Right, it's a highlight reel. It's not reality.
It's not reality. So I never really got into influencers because, like, one, I'm the only influence I need, to be honest.
I mean, okay, pop off, I guess.
No, I'm serious. Like, why would I listen to someone else living their best life when I want to live my best life?
It's kind of like they're just like showing you how to live your best life. It's not real. It's not like they're just showing you the best parts. I've actually heard like influencers talk about like, oh, since like TikTok is dying, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I actually faked all my runs, and you know, it's like they're like mile 1, mile 2, mile 3, and I'm like, you don't sound out of breath for mile 3, and I just never really followed influencers because they're just, I don't know. I just never really been affected by them.
Yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of influencers who have had quite a bit of controversies. So starting off, Cody Ko, he's a YouTuber, I believe. I don't
keep
up with him.
Did he start on
Vine? He's a rapper.
No.
And they're all rappers. I
know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly.
I bet you 5 of these names on our list are rappers too. They're all rappers. They just make one song and hope it's gonna hit them big. It's not. But he was accused by Tanya Monet in
Tana Mojo.
Yeah, in May 2024 by committing statutory rape when she was 17. He was 25. Golly.
Yeah,
it's very common for just older men and younger women. Has that been something that's been studied? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a study.
But I looked it up a little bit, and like you said, it was when she was 17 and he was 25. And I think she started talking about it in 2021. I don't know how old she is now, honestly. Actually, I think she's around 25 now because she said something along the lines of, now that I'm 25, I'm looking at 17-year-olds and being like, what the fuck was that? Like
children.
Like she wouldn't do the same thing. So like, it's a lot more serious than she kind of.
Statutory rape, that's when the one person is older than the other.
It's when.
Like they both wanted, but one of them was under the age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you do something with a minor.
Okay. So who's touching a kid?
18 over. Freaks are.
Yeah.
Or something. And speaking of Cody Ko, Brittany Broski, who is actually coming to UD tomorrow to do a Perkins Live thing.
I got my tickets for it.
Really?
That was actually harder than getting Taylor Swift tickets.
Because my friend was telling me about it. He said like it was going to be in Trabant, like how used there all are.
And there were only like 300 available tickets.
But like a lot more people signed up, so they had to move it all the way down to Little Bob.
Yeah. No, Big Bob.
Big Bob. No, Big Bob.
Yeah, they moved it there.
Seriously?
Yeah. So many
Who is this
people
Brittany
wanted it.
Broski? I have never heard of her before this week.
Have you heard of like the kombucha girl meme?
No.
Okay, well never mind then, I guess.
I'm so out of date with so many things. Like I live in my own personal little world. If it doesn't fit in that world, I'm literally like.
So you haven't like seen like a GIF or like any like a picture of like a blonde girl making these like weird faces just in reaction to.
No.
Okay.
I would need to see it.
That's how she first got popularity on TikTok, and she just kind of moved on and actually has her own talk show where she talks to celebrities. Through this like medieval show, and she actually interviewed just one of my favorite actresses before. So I was like, wow, I'm proud of her.
Who's your favorite actress?
Yeah.
I have many, but one of them was Sophie Thatcher. She's great.
Gotcha.
She's great.
But she was kind of semi-canceled at one point for kind of speaking up about the Tana Mojo Cody Ko situation, and it was almost like she was like an apologist for Cody Ko's actions and being like not necessarily like saying stuff about like allegations, like if they're true, then like, but I'm a big fan and I
see-
hate to see this happen. It's
See,
like
you have to
that's-
stay away from stuff like that. That's like when the baby got canceled.
Yeah, like
because
that.
he started talking stuff about LGBTQ. You cannot talk about like those people like that in that setting. That's how you get canceled, especially when it talks about the gays.
And also, like, she was saying how important it is for people with like millions of followers, like herself, on both Instagram and TikTok, to use their platforms for good and talk about these serious issues. But then she contradicted herself, saying like, oh, like, why am I supposed to talk about the conflicts in the Middle East? Like, why does that matter for me? I'm like the last person who should do that. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. Like, if you have this big platform, like, I don't know, what do you guys think?
I feel like it depends really. If you're like really like confident and like if you really like feel like what you're talking about is important, you should talk about whatever you want. But you have to think about like because you represent something when you become an influencer, I believe.
Oh, for
you
sure.
you like represent like you like people look for you for a certain type of advice, your niche. So like say I create a film talk, I become a film like influencer. You're not going to expect me to be talking about like, I don't know, drinks, like. So if it depends, like if you really like, I would say
It's all in like the branding, honestly. That's why I've kind of like learned in my marketing classes. You know, it's all about branding. You know, would say like a drink company decides to make a shoe that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Same thing with like I guess influencers. They sort of have a certain brand. They have a brand about films, or they're a book talker where they talk about all the books they've read, and then just completely move on to a different topic of like, okay, so we're gonna talk about sports now. And I think it's just. I think it depends on each kind of person. You know, if a person's like whole brand is like political activism, of course they're probably going to mention it.
Yeah. I don't think that they're necessarily obligated to talk about these
Yeah.
big issues, but I think that they can bring more attention to a certain, you know.
yeah, but they should be aware about what they talk about. You should for an influencer, they should always like be like, is this gonna hurt me or help me?
I mean, I hear you, but at the same time, sometimes you gotta cause the discomfort if it's like talking about something important. Like, but oh, you're talking about like the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'm,
like
no, with the what's her name, Brittany Broski, about being a Cody Co apologist. Like, she should have thought like, is talking about this really gonna help me, or is it gonna like?
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we keep talking about Brittany Broski and Cody Ko. Like, we have like so many influencers.
That's
Talk
true.
about Mr. Beast, Colin
Yeah.
Ballinger, James Charles, David Dobrik,
There's
and
so
what-
many.
There's so many, but so little time for
Can't
that.
possibly cover it all.
Yeah.
So table that until next time. But speaking of abuse of a large following, next we're going to talk about President's Day and the irony of its recognition in 2025.
You know, I want to say I was shocked when the election happened, but like honestly, I had no faith in America. So
Yeah.
no faith.
My mom and my dad keep saying, well, all of us, me too, but we don't know what's scarier, the fact that he's back in the White House or the fact that we elected him.
No, that's a very scary thought.
Because it's like,
That's a very scary thought because I remember watching the election. I like pulled it up on my computer because I was like, oh, it's like happening. I wonder what's happening. I saw that. I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
You know, it actually has like a lot to do with his. Like, I'm like a big history buff, so this is like a common trend that we see like throughout history. People, whenever like during like a presidency, like during like a Democratic presidency, usually sometimes the next presidency goes like far right to like it's never really a medium. Everyone just kind of like overcompensates because they believe that the previous presidencies did a terrible job, and so they kind of like overcompensate by going far left, and that's been like throughout history as well. I believe also with Ronald Reagan too. I can't remember what was the previous president. Was it?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
I don't know. Or for example, you go and then you got like Hoover, like Herbert Hoover, who was during like the Great Depression. I think he was Republican. I don't know. So like, but then they voted immediately Democrat because like he was terrible during the Depression. So that's like a very common thing like in politics, and I think that like we just just gotta keep moving on, keep moving forward, and just do what we can.
You said you're big into history. Do you know some history about like how President's Day became a thing? Like I know it's from Washington's birthday?
No, I'm not entirely sure how President's Day became a thing. I'm just more interested in like more of the bigger stuff.
I got you. Well, it says in 1971, the Uniform Monday Holiday Act moved the holiday to the third Monday in February in terms of President's Day. I personally think, well, I've never really recognized President's Day as anything.
It was just a day to
it was
get
just
off
a day.
of school.
But we didn't even get off. And
You didn't get off school?
Oh, I thought you meant like here, because I was
Oh,
like,
no,
we didn't even get off
Back in,
classes
like-
and Biden went here. But yeah, like back in, I didn't recognize it as anything but like a day to sleep in and everything like that. But I feel like it's so ironic and like hypocritical to still have something that recognizes people as, well, a person, an orange.
You said an orange?
Why would I celebrate and recognize somebody who wouldn't want me to be celebrated or recognized?
No, think about how I feel.
Yeah.
This is not a safe time.
Yeah. It's scary.
Especially like because I know he's like closing all the diversity. Like
I'm actually in one of my classes, Com 426, 27. We're doing a documentary on how DEI changes impact students in universities. And I looked at the diversity website for UD, and it's like page not found.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy that it's already happening here. And it's just, I don't know, it's terrifying.
Yeah, no, it's like,
he's in office for 4 years, you said?
Yeah, just like put me in a coma and wake me up later.
yeah, for like just for President's Day, like you said, how it was just day sleep in. I think that's like kind of like true for like many other days. I remember I think we had off for like either for we used to have off for like Columbus Day, and I just remember like a day to sleep in. Like I've never even thought about like the whole thing about Columbus or even the thing about presidents. It was just a day to sleep in. It was so I think that kind of like became moot at that point to have those kind of days, and I think that's also why they just decided to keep schools open for Columbus Day after a while. Because I remember back in elementary school, that was a day I could sleep in. But then like middle school, high school, I was like, oh, we're still here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the thing with President's Day and Columbus Day, it's like everything is so whitewashed, and we don't.
Oh no! I took a history class where we would like our professor had like primary sources from like about Columbus, and it really said like it was like his journal findings, and he really said these people would be very useful as slaves, like in almost every line. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Man was really like he was looking for goods, and he saw everything as good, even the whole people there.
Yeah, it's in my mind it will never be Columbus Day again. It's Indigenous Peoples Day. Like.
Actually, I even learned about some history about Columbus that's not on topic, but it was just crazy. As I found like just random, I guess like, like STDs. I think they kind of like also keep them because I just heard this is very gruesome, but I just heard it's like I think that like there was like barely any women like on the ships or something, so they would just do it with like some animals.
What?
And I don't quote me on that.
Don't
quote me on that.
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising.
They did animals?
Like, I don't quote me on that. I'm not like I don't want to say anything unless that's a fact
Is
on
that
the
what?
show.
Is
That's
that,
just
what's
what
it called? Bestiality?
believed. I think I was like believed I read online, but that's very gruesome. That's very gruesome to talk about. This is
Like,
not
they couldn't
related
keep
at
it
all
in-
to the
oh,
topic. But I
God.
just because I was just saying, I was like,
Like what? A horse? Like ugh.
I was like, I think it was a sheep or something.
A sheep? That can't be worse. Like
You mean that can't be better?
yeah,
It can't be
that
better.
Can't be better.
It can't be worse.
Yeah, no,
it
none
could
of that
be-
is good.
I was like, oh, a sheep probably could be worse. Probably could be worse.
Oh God.
But do not quote me on this.
won't quote
This
you on
is
that,
just, I really need to do my research on this because I can't say anything without verifying this.
No, like wouldn't put it past our history to, completely.
A sheep?
You're just not getting
Yes,
past the
I'm
sheep.
I'm not getting past like.
Still stuck on this.
I get you're on a ship and you're sailing and you don't know if you're gonna live or not, but like, a sheep? Like you're all down bad, that bad. Then you had to go you had to bring an animal on board to relieve your like.
I think because it was of course, with Columbus and all that, they brought a bunch of diseases to America. And
Yeah, no wonder you're contracting diseases. Like,
Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm pretty sure Columbus spread chlamydia. I'm pretty sure that's I read that somewhere.
something I don't know.
So that's where chlamydia came
I don't know
from.
why.
It came from sheep.
Well, I wouldn't.
This is my fault for bringing this up. This is my fault.
Don't go saying that chlamydia came from sheep.
No, I'm not saying that, but it just sounds like it does the transaction between doing it with sheep and diseases spreading through America. There seems to be some kind of interlocking something connecting there.
Way off topic. We need to get back on topic.
Yeah. Okay. So, speaking of situations that get misconstrued, now we're gonna take it to Sierra with the little crash course of Black History Month.
Hey Real Talk, February is here and you know what that means. It's Black History Month. This month is all about celebrating pride, culture, and the incredible contributions of Black Americans. It's a time to honor the dedication and perseverance that have shaped our nation's history. But how did Black History Month even start? And why do we celebrate it? Black History Month was founded in 1926 by historian Carter G. Woodson. It started as Negro History Week during the second week of February. Woodson wanted to highlight the achievements of Black Americans that were often left out of history books. Over time, it grew into a month-long celebration officially recognized by President Gerald Ford in 1976. So why do we celebrate it? Black History Month is more than just looking back, it's about recognizing the resilience, creativity, and leadership of Black individuals who have fought for equality and justice. This month is a chance to learn, reflect, and celebrate the diversity that makes our world so vibrant. Did you know that the theme for Black History Month changes every year? Also, Canada and UK also celebrate Black History Month, but just in October. But let's clear up some misconceptions. Black History Month isn't just about slavery or civil rights. It's about celebrating the full spectrum of Black history, from ancient African kingdoms to modern-day innovators. As we reflect on Black History Month, let's remember its roots. The first Negro History Week in 1926 was a small but powerful step towards recognizing the contributions of Black Americans. Today, it's a global celebration of culture, history, and progress, but the work isn't over. Let's use this month to educate ourselves, challenge stereotypes, and continue to fight for equality. Thanks for tuning in, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you, Sierra, for keeping us informed. It's so important to create space for representation and diversity. Speaking of diversity, the Disability Support Services Center at UD accommodates many students for a variety of reasons, but they may not always be the most reliable or communicative. Gabby is going to tell us about her experience with DSS throughout her time here. All right, kick it off.
All right, yeah, perfect. First, I would just like to introduce who I am. I'm Gabriella. I wasn't born deaf, actually. I was deaf when I contracted a CMV virus from my mom, which my mom contracted from the hospital. 9 months after that, I was diagnosed as deaf. I have bilateral hearing. I'm profoundly deaf in my right ear, and I have just very mild hearing in my left ear, which is why I have this hearing aid. If you guys can see, it's like purple. And I have a cochlear implant in my right ear. And growing up, I've always, I've always been kind of almost like an outcast. I've always been different. I was the only one in my school who had implanted hearing aid. And I was kind of and whenever someone new came in that also had it, I was always oh my God, I can't wait to teach you everything. I can't wait to show you everything. I've always loved teaching and kind of guiding other people through. That's always been a great pleasure of mine. And growing up hearing impaired, sometimes there's a lot of things that I would miss out, or being in the cafeteria, there's crowds, and that the crowds are all talking, and everyone's, from how I hear it, your voices are the same volume as the crowd, because my implant's not smart enough to differentiate between that, so I'm always what'd you say? Can you please repeat yourself? It became to a point that I just didn't even try listening in the cafeterias. So with that, and especially in classrooms, that's why I have accommodations. I have a Roger microphone, which is what you see on the table right now. It's hard to see. I have a Roger microphone. I am placing this here so I can hear my other co-hosts. that helps me hear you guys and amplifies your voice in my ear. And I've always had someone advocating for me. I've always had my teacher of the deaf, great, God bless them, Lisa Hendel and Chrissy Young. They've always stood up for me. They always accommodated for me. And that, at that point, so I've never really known what it was like to advocate for myself until I got to college. Before I got to college, the summer before college, I kept in constant contact with DSS. I've always, been like, hey, this is what I need. I sent them like pictures. I sent them like the exact things that I need for my classes. And so we made sure to keep in constant contact. Everything was through email or like call, video Zoom calls. And so when I got there before my first day of class, I went to go to DSS. I was like, great, my equipment's ready. I can't wait. I'm ready to start this first day of school. It turns out they didn't have any of my equipment ready. One of them didn't arrive, and we call an audio shoe for my implant. It's, if I can like show, it's this little part here that connects, and it's like a receiver to the microphone. They had that, but they had it for the wrong
hearing aid.
It wasn't updated to mine, so it was not compatible with it. So I wasn't even able to use the mics at all. And also they gave me the wrong mics. I told them I needed a Roger touchscreen, and then they gave me a Roger pen. They're two very different mics. I used to use that, but I moved on to the touchscreen to accommodate for myself from college and move on with new equipment, better equipment, because it was a surround sound. Teacher could wear. You could put it on the desk, and hear other teachers and other students. And so I was like, this will be perfect for college. And so they did not get that for me. And I'm not much of a crier, okay? I don't really cry at things or things that happen to me or at TV shows. But I just remember leaving there and calling my mom and just sobbing. I was like, they didn't have any of my equipment ready. How am I supposed to hear? So like for the first month, I didn't really have any equipment to hear the professor. The only thing they had was the cart, which is captioning. But the microphone that they used for cart, terrible, absolutely terrible. All the captioners I worked with, they're like, I can barely hear them. It sounds like they're far away, even though the microphone was right here. And it was 3 years after, actually, my junior year, I kept bringing this up, but they're like, yeah, I'm sorry, I wish there was something we could do. And then they brought in a new person for the captioning, and I told them about the same problem, and they're like, oh, we actually have another mic. I was like, what do you mean? It was like, we have another mic we could try. I was like, have you guys had this the whole time?
It's like, where have you been?
Where have you? Yeah. So we tried that. I was like, and they liked it, and the captioners were like, yes, we can perfectly hear them fine. We can hear them perfectly fine. I'm just like, are you kidding me? I spent the first half of my college career just being able to have my captioners being able to hear the professors and having to constantly go back to DSS. I've had to waste my hours at DSS because they kept dropping the ball on things, and after 4 years here, I'm still not reliant on DSS. I still keep contacting them every day, and so it made me more appreciative of my teachers of the deafs about how well they accommodated, to the point that I didn't realize that's how much they accommodated. I thought the teachers at my high school knew what these equipment were, but it was really my teacher of the deaf who said, you need to get this for her. And so that made me much more appreciative, and I think that DSS really should have done better. I think they need to hire some people who are familiar with equipment, because I think they just brought in I wouldn't say, no offense to people who work there. I'm sure they're very hard workers. I'm sure they work very hard to help accommodate students, but I think they really need to bring in people who know what they're talking about, who have experience working with deaf and hard of hearing individuals or blind individuals. And it's just been a tough ride with DSS, and I'm sorry, I hate to say it, I just don't trust them. I constantly tell people. I also joined this college, people going into college, and I always tell them about my experience with DSS to kind of give them a warning, or if they do want to come to UD, you need to advocate for yourself, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, if you're reliant on somebody for something and they don't provide it for you, of course that's going to decrease your trust, and like likelihood of kind of, I don't know.
No, I hear you.
I
I hear you about hiring new people. We're going through the same thing at my job, the library. I work at Morris Library, and we had to let go like two people. Like 2 people left. Like we don't have a book fixer. Like the person, like if a book breaks, they'll fix the books back. We can't find anyone hiring. There's like a hiring freeze all over UD.
Yeah, there's, it's not really much
underfunded.
like that hiring freeze. I think they just, they bring in like anybody. They bring in, again, like they should work. I've met like a few people who would try to work really hard with me and they would try to be like understanding. And I remember like in my freshman year, we didn't really get the ball moving until my parents sent like a very colorful email, like threatening to, like the next time we meet would probably be like in a court or something. And of course we know how like schools, college, they don't want any of that publicity, bad publicity. So they're like, oh, we gotta go, we gotta get the ball rolling. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like,
It's crazy that it took until that point.
yeah, it's like I got my parents on my back, with my back here, got them on my back. I also got my teacher, the deaf, my teachers on deaf, they got my back. And Lisa Hendel, she also helped me out through the entire thing.
Yeah.
I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you were able to get that support. Clearly, there are a lot of things that DSS could stand to work on to better support their students. This has been a pretty heavy episode so far, so now we're going to try to end it on a bit of a lighter note. So what is something good that has happened to you recently, either in the past week or today, and just a little bit about that?
Oh, me first?
I was looking at you.
Okay, something good that's happened to me this past week. I pass. Let's come back to me. Let's come back to me.
All right, I guess a good thing is like this is my first time on the show here. That's pretty nice. I think I did pretty good. I'm not too shy in front of a camera. I'm always like whenever I'm in the crowd or at a party, I see a camera. I'm always like, I'm always posing in front of that. And also another good thing is that one of my favorite TV shows has a new episode coming out. Yay, Paramount Plus. If you guys want to watch that too.
And the show is?
Yellow Jackets.
I
love
personally
that.
haven't watched it, but I might have to.
What about you? Good things? Good vibes.
My hand is no longer gushing blood. I cut it on a
love that.
pants hanger at work the other day. Had to, get my hand glued back together. That was super fun.
It was a pants hanger?
Yeah, I cut my hand on a pants hanger. I can't explain how I managed to do that.
I was just about to say, I was like,
really, really serious sports-related injury. But
so serious.
yeah, it's a joke.
All right, we are bringing it back to you.
Back to me. I guess I have to follow what Gabby said. This is my first show back this is my first show back this semester.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it last semester to the sadness of many people. But I'm back now, so it's gonna be great.
Missed you so dearly.
That's what I keep hearing, but another good thing, Carlos gave me a new lens for my camera, which is great. Carlos is our studio manager.
I was gonna say shout out. No, Noah's our studio manager.
Huh?
Noah is our studio manager.
Oh, my fault. Carlos is our advisor. Yeah. Yeah. Even though he gave away my other lenses, but we can. That's not a bad thing. So let's talk about the good things.
I mean,
All good things. All good things.
got a Wawa slushie the other day. That was pretty fire.
Pretty fire.
Had a rough day. Needed a sweet treat. Works. It works.
I might make some cookies after this. I'm hungry.
You bake?
Love a good sweet treat.
Chocolate chips.
You bake?
No, I just used the plate. What was it?
Cookie dough?
Yeah. I don't know.
The little mushroom. Not mushroom.
Mushroom. You put
No, the
mushroom in
marshmallow
cookies?
guy. The little marshmallow dude.
What marshmallow?
Pillsbury?
Pillsbury.
All right. Well, on that note, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. Make sure to join us for our next episode on March 13th. I've been your host, Kelsey. Until our next talk, keep it real out there, Newark. Bye.